Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another StarCraft 2 last player standing StarCraft 2 Open 2. Lots of twos. Cast. Still dealing with a round of 64 best of ones. Here we have a PvT between Elden, our pink Protoss down in the right spawning position, and RevDoctor, our blue Terran up in the left top-ish spawning position. Map is again Naga Fortress. Apparently that seems to be a starting map of some kind for this. I don't know exactly how they did their map system, but I'm sure you can go to their website, lastplayerstanding.com, and check it out for yourselves. This does offer $500 to the winner of this tournament. Obviously, it's attracting fairly big name players. Anyone from Diamond to Grandmaster can enter, so you're going to see a high caliber of games over the next week or so from all the videos that are uploaded to their website. This should be linked to their website at some point anyway, so you can enjoy some of the early round games of this tournament. I do believe that they're bringing in a professional caster for the last round of 8, round of 16 or something like that, so you'll get to enjoy the soothing tones of whoever it is that decided to bring in. I haven't actually heard who that is yet, so I'm sure we'll see when it happens. So PvT on this map, actually I don't believe we've casted one of these on this map yet, so I'm sure this will be a little bit interesting. So far we're seeing completely standard play out of both players. Nothing incredibly crazy going on here. Barracks down on 12 by the Terran, again completely standard. Early game is really tough to deviate from for the most part. You kind of have to, there's a really clear-cut way to do it. If you deviate from that, you're most likely going to put yourself behind. So you basically just have to scout and put down your first unit producing structure, be it a barracks, a gateway, spawning pool of some kind, and be well on your merry way to playing a decent game, hopefully for yourself. You see the SCV moving out to scout. This probe is actually going to get stopped. The supply depot was only about a quarter built when it was stopped to prevent the probe from getting in. That's actually quite a smart play. You don't need to finish constructing that supply depot yet, but it is nice to get it started so that you can prevent the scout inside your base. This SCV is going to be able to get a full scout of the Protoss base as the Protoss decided not to wall in. Protoss don't usually wall in against Terran, so it's not too surprising to see. Cybernetic score now being dropped here, orbital command going up, as well as a marine being built for the Terran player. Again, completely standard orbital command opening. Protoss probe does have control of this central Naga tower, which I do believe disappears after a certain amount of time, so it really doesn't do a whole lot of good anyways. But this SCV is now getting a full scout of the Protoss base. It sees that nothing unusual is happening. There's no forge up. There's no signs of a fast expansion coming, so he's able to go about his game plan. You see command center being dropped here. It's obviously going to be some sort of a 1-rax fast expand. Probably see a bunker dropped here on the low ground at some point to be able to protect that expansion. He'll be able to get an early economic advantage on the Protoss player. Warp gates now coming out, chronoing out for the Protoss. Pylon now going down. Zealot chasing this SCV around the base. Sadly, I don't know if that Zealot knows that he's not quite as fast as, well, he's not fast enough to catch it anyways. I do believe they're about the same speed. Zealot does manage to cut it off and get one hit in, but this SCV is going to be like, huh, I'm leaving now, and likely return home. Do you see barracks going down? Barracks going down, so we do see 2 more barracks being dropped for the Terran player, as well as his first gas. Did do all that gasless, so he did do a gasless 1-rax fast expand of some kind, still in the middle of building that expansion command center. We're going to see this barracks moved over and a bunker being dropped to finish the wall off. Surprised he's not dropping this bunker in the low ground though, unless he's not planning on moving this expansion quite yet. Guess we'll see exactly what he plans on doing with that. Warp gate's now about half done. We don't see, we just see now additional gateways being dropped. Doesn't look like it's going to be a 4 gateway. Early pressure build. Obviously the 4 gate's one of the most well-known builds in StarCraft 2, as it is pretty easy to execute and is quite effective if your opponent's not ready for any early sort of aggression, which it looks like this Terran might be a little bit unprepared for it, as he is dropping barracks, but he also decided to drop that early command center, which put him a little bit behind in the units for the time being. This SCV, however, did slip by the Zealot and will be able to scout. There's 4 gateways. That definitely is going to give him some valuable scouting information, so he'll be able to make use of this bunker. Pull some SCVs to repair him, maybe drop a second bunker, and definitely he'll not be moving this orbital command out quite yet. He'll be using the mules, and that's about it. And apparently he's going to start building SCVs from it too, making great use of that command center inside his base. It doesn't always have to be landed at a separate mineral patch to be effective. You do see the Protoss is dropping his own nexus at his expansion, so obviously he's maybe not planning to use his 4 gate for aggression. He might just be planning to expand behind it. Maybe a little bit of a fake out there. The SCV saw the 4 gate, might have thought aggression, but instead the Protoss is simply going to use that to try and hopefully make the Terran overreact and simply drop an expansion himself. Very smart play by the Protoss there, as he did force the Terran to build a second bunker, and the Terran is currently waiting for some sort of an aggressive push when one isn't actually incoming. We do see a proxy pylon planted over here though, so that might come into effect later on in the game. But right now the Protoss is fully okay with just sitting back and taking his expansion normally. See a Forge being dropped here, probably for some early upgrades, maybe for some cannons to defend his expansion. But right now the Terran is in complete defense mode. He really wants to make sure this Forgate doesn't outright kill him. Little does he know that this Forgate actually will never put any pressure on him at all. Factory now being dropped. You see the second gas has been taken by the Terran player, so he is committing to a little bit of tech here. Still fairly early in the game, but they're both just sitting back. Neither one has managed to put a whole lot of pressure on the other. Outside of that fake out on the Forgate, it's really the only noteworthy thing so far, and causing the Terran to build 2 bunkers. So about this map, I'm not a huge fan of this map, but really we are dealing with a Zerg, so there's no Zergs to complain about. Oh, there's no easy third to take, and blah blah blah. This map actually does have a relatively easy third, as it's bunched up with the natural and the main, so the creep spread's nice and easy. It doesn't take a mile of creep to try and get to your third base. However, taking anything past that gets a little bit more exasperating. It's really tough to secure a 4th base in this, because the 4th base you're either expanding towards your opponent or you're expanding significantly farther away, but the distance between that is huge. If you're expanding this base over here, it would be the distance is far too much for creep to reasonably cover anyways, until you get to the later stages of the game. Tech lab going down on that barracks here. We do see Stim is almost completed for the Terran. He did move this orbital command down and is now officially mining from his natural. He did salvage both those bunkers up there, so we see a bunker being placed down at the front and a missile turret being dropped here. The Dark Shrine is currently in production for the Protoss player. It's only about a third done. Missile turret might just be a bit of protection for the Terran. He might not know that DTs might be coming, but he knows that there's a possibility, so he drops that detector just in case. Not that he's expecting air at this point, but we do see a small force of Marines and Marauders moving out. There's no medevacs out yet. We see the switch on the add-ons going on in the base, as this starport will land on a reactor. Begin pumping out medevacs immediately as this force moves to the middle of the map. Able to secure some map control with that mobile force. Protoss hasn't really moved out yet. He's got mostly Zealot composition with some good force fields that actually makes those Zealots very, very powerful. Obviously poor force fields basically make the Zealots useless, but at this level of play I'm sure we'll see some quite decent force fields here. So to be a small battle over here, Marines and Marauders marching in. They do see that there's a lot of Zealots and decide maybe that's not the best idea. They're going to turn around and stay here for the time being. One Marine stims in to see exactly what they're against, and the Zealots quickly pick that apart. Zealot leg speed is about halfway done. We see +1 weapons going down for the Terran infantry. This bunker's loaded up, preparing for any sort of aggression, but I don't think we're going to see any incoming quite yet. Energy's getting a little bit high on this one orbital command, but I'm sure he'll drop a meal quite quickly, as in not allow his macro to slip. This force is going to find this proxy pylon over here and quickly destroy that. 1 DT was morphed in over here. Not sure if he's going to use that or not. He's going to keep it away from the force, so there's no chance he'll spot the shimmer and scan. But he's going to move his DT through and does maybe hack away. He's going to move it with the army, but he's not going to attack. Very wise move. He doesn't want to reveal his Dark Shrine quite yet, as I don't believe the Terran player has seen it yet. DT's going to hide over here. We just see some back going up here. See, we got pylons being dropped. 3 more gateways going down for the Protoss player. Brings him up to a grand total of 7. Obviously he's going very gateway heavy. No great tech incoming from the Protoss. Mainly the same from the Terran. We're not seeing any really high level tech. He's mostly staying on Marines and Marauders, mostly with just medevac support. And this could actually be a very interesting engagement. I'm not sure which way this will go. Marines and Marauders are at 1-0, as are the Protoss. Ground army, we do see those Dark Templars are being used to make Archons. Archons obviously very good for area of effect damage against this if they can get close enough. That's where the Sentry's force fields come in. Hopefully those force fields are good enough to secure, hold those infantry units back and allow the Zealots and the Archons to rip them apart. Medevacs coming over here. There does appear to be a bit of an engagement going on. Zealots charge forward, and then both parties decide to turn around, lick their wounds, which suffered really any wounds at all. Medvacs are loaded up. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but we might be seeing a bit of a drop in the back of the Protoss base. Hopefully we are. We do see these gateways that he dropped are being morphed into warp gates, so we'll be able to reinforce really quickly. It's sitting on quite a supply of minerals and gas. We should be able to drop quite a few Zealots with those gateways. You see the drop coming in the back of the Protoss base here. He is attacking mostly pylons. Probably not the best thing to attack right now, but he will manage the supply block and keep attacking his pylons. Zealots and Archons coming in here, and they should be able to at least force them out of the space, which they do. Medvac drop actually did quite a bit. They killed enough pylons. Here comes the attack from the middle, right at the front, attacking the natural nexus, and the natural nexus does appear to go down. The probes are all pulled, and the main force can't get back in time. That was a great dual-pronged attack by the Terran player. Managed to pull the Protoss army out of position with these medvacs. and attack the front simultaneously, and now this drop comes back, and this harassment just will not end as this main force decides to come back in and kill a couple more probes. While these medvacs in the back with the Marauders and Marines are doing huge amounts of damage, they'll just charge in. Hopefully they'll be able to pick up in time, as I do believe they'll lose most of this force with the exception of medvacs, as sentries do almost no damage. And the only thing here that can attack air. A couple Marines do sprint forward trying to get away from the Zealots. One Marine's picked up. One medvac's pretty much almost dead. It's got 1 hit point left. We do see this this force still here attacking the expansion nexus, attempting to force the cancel on it. These probes come down or pulled. Zealots are going to charge forward, but they don't think they'll be able to take out this force with proper micro, which looks like we are dealing with a person who knows how to properly micro. Supplies are definitely forming a big disparity here. There's another Terran force at his base waiting to go in case this one gets lost. Force fields go down, probes inflict massive damage upon this line, but they are also being lost in huge numbers. So he is definitely going to be suffering in the worker count if he can manage to survive this. Marines and Marauders doing some skillful little micro there, trying to kill exactly what they can. Medvacs are here to heal, and this actually is very, very dangerous for the Protoss player. He's still dealing with a couple Marauders here against Stalkers, but these Stalkers hopefully will take these Marauders down. Medvac's going to be forced to turn around and retreat. So I do believe really the Terran is sitting in such a good position right now. He hasn't used this to take a third base, but he should just be able to walk right in and kill. It does look like he's moving his units towards the Protoss natural, which Nexus did just go up. He's queued a lot of probes because he did lose a lot of probes from that that last engagement as Terran moves out with his command center and prepares to take his third base. Do see some medvacs coming around here, maybe to fake out a drop. There's only one Marine, I do believe, in there, and one of those medvacs is almost dead, but we should hopefully maybe see the army pulled away. And another dual-pronged attack, just a fake out going on here. Medvacs are forced to join up with the rest of their army. I do believe this could be a huge confrontation. DT's morphed in. Terran doesn't manage to scan those. That could be huge. There's no Raven with this group, so the DTs can do huge amounts of damage. Force fields go down, scan goes down, and these DTs will fall like paper. They have hardly any health, they do lots of damage, but if you scan, you can see them. This Terran army is absolutely ripping through this Protoss Gateway army. Protoss supply now down to 45, Terran supply up to 128. I don't see a way for the Protoss to recover out of this unless this DT can do huge amounts of damage. There goes the scan. Force are able to pick that up. Mansion Nexus. The Terran army can just sit out here and basically attack this Nexus. It appears to be only the Ghosts that are doing that though. Zealots charge in, trying to take out the Ghosts, and it does look like they'll be able to kill a good amount of them. So the Terran army actually manages to pay attention and kills the Zealots for killing the Ghosts. And this could spell the end for the Protoss player. Terran is now sitting on 3 bases. Protoss is still only on his main, as this natural has basically been under attack the whole game. And there comes a probe pull, and there's the GG by Elden. As the probes all come out and try and do a last-ditch effort, GG is returned by RevDoctor. And there we have it. The blue Terran managed to successfully take that game. Again, the tournament is last player standing. This is a round of 64, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the cast, and I will see you guys later.